Alright, here we go. Supreme Court makes it easier to claim reverse discrimination in employment in the case from Ohio. So this was the one that was just, we just read not too long. Literally not a couple seconds ago.
A unanimous Supreme Court decision says that discrimination is discrimination, no matter the plaintiff. The case centers on an Ohio woman.
So they're basically, they're saying racism is racism. There's no reverse racism or anything like that. Right? It's just
Ames
racism.
said she lost those positions to two gay
Plain and
employees.
simple. There's no such thing as reverse racism. It's just racism.
About a third of the country's
well, I mean, it's a
courts,
discrimination
Ohio's,
dispute,
had
right?
required people filing suit to prove a pattern of historical discrimination, a burden non-minority groups can't always show. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote the opinion saying, quote, by establishing the same protections for every individual without regard to that individual's membership in a minority or majority group, Congress left no room for courts to impose special requirements on majority group plaintiffs alone.
You're not going to have to prove more in order to try and continue with your case. You walk in there and you're on the same footing as anybody else.
The High Court also sided unanimously with top American gun manufacturers, tossing out a $10 billion lawsuit from Mexico seeking to hold gun makers responsible for cartel crimes committed outside the U.S. Justice Elena Kagan wrote the lawsuit does not pinpoint, as most aiding and abetting claims do, any specific criminal transactions that the defendants allegedly assisted.
This isn't a Second Amendment case. We're talking about a statute that generally shields gun manufacturers.
A lower court had let the case proceed under an exception that has been used in
yeah,
other
it should
landmark
shield
lawsuits
manufacturers,
like the
but
Sandy
you
Hook
still
massacre.
do. But for
Bradley
whatever
Blackburn,
reason,
CBS
you guys
News.
still fucking target the manufacturers when a family member of some crazed lunatic that guns their one of their family members down, they get a lawsuit going, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna allow them to sue the company. It's like, what? How does that make sense? But yeah, there you have it. Reverse discrimination.
Look, we are really excited about having an opportunity
Republican
to deliver for the
senators
American
debate
people.
Trump's tax bill.
Obviously, everything from energy independence and dominance to making sure that we have the 21st century military capabilities that we need, to securing our border, to also making sure that hardworking Americans can keep more of their own money. So I'm excited about where it's going. I think the Republican conference is unified. We understand the mission and we understand what we need to do to help America continue to thrive and prosper.
I'm sympathetic to more cuts. I agree with Ron Johnson and others. We got to find more reductions to really address some of the legitimate concerns of some of the Senate members. But it's like I said, the level that Mr. Musk is operating, I can't really respond to that. If he wants to get into specific areas, but I get that we've got to bend the curve on spending, and we're doing everything we can to.
Well, as you know, I'm for balancing budget, so that's what I'm still working on.
Oh, there's Rick Scott.
I support the president's agenda. I talked to him. I met with him on Monday.
Wait.
He agrees he wants to balance the budget. So
isn't this
my
the
goal,
same Rick Scott that fucking Hassan was trying to be like, oh yeah, you gotta get this guy.
I mean, here's where we are with the bill. We're in what I call the lively discussion stage. And this thing can go in one of two directions. It can go in a positive direction, where nobody's completely happy, but we put together something we can all support. Or door number two is it turns into a crime scene. And I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist who worries, but I think we'll ultimately end up with a bill we can pass.
There you have it. Let's see the crime scene. I want to see the bloodbath. Where's the bloodbath? I want to be covered in it. Officers opened fire during assault with deadly weapon call in Harvard Heights.
Officers in Harvard Heights.
Let's get up to Mike Case. He's overhead in Sky 5. Mike?
Glenn, Lou, good morning. We know two things for a fact. Number one is an officer-involved shooting occurred. The second thing is Traffic is a mess because Western Avenue has been shut down between Olympic and Western. Here's what we know. About shortly after 9 o'clock this morning, Olympic officers responded to a call of a assault with a deadly weapon. They arrived on the scene. Gets a little sketchy. We're not sure, but we know an officer-involved shooting occurred. We don't know whether the injured person was shot by another suspect or by the officers. We're waiting for the public information officer from LAPD to give us some definitive facts on this, but we can tell you there's a large police presence. That tells us there's some kind of investigation going on. They've got the crime scene van out here, a crime that van right there that you see in the center of it. That means they brought out all the big guns, and no pun intended on that. LAPD on the scene. They blocked out now Western, and you're not going to be able to go anywhere except on 18th Street East and West. But what we know again is a paramedic ambulance was called for the victim of a shooting. It was originated as a victim of a assault with a deadly weapon. Some type of an officer-involved shooting occurred. We don't know whether that was the result of, or the injury resulted from that or not. PIO is still awaiting. We're awaiting some information from him, and if we get back before the end of the show, we'll make sure that we get that to you. For now, my case up Sky 5 HD, just north of the 10 freeway on Western Avenue. Back to you.
Back to you. There you have it. What do we got here? Trump's orders investigation into Biden and his aides.
Well, look, the auto pen, I think, is the big scandal outside of the rigged election of 2020. I think the biggest scandal of the last many years is the auto pen. And who's using it? I happen to think I know.
Let's discuss like, oh,
I'm
shit,
here
we go.
And I'm not a big auto pen person, fortunately. I'm glad. I'm very glad. It's an easy way out. But it's a very bad thing, very dangerous. You know, I sign important documents. Usually when they put documents in front of you, they're important. Even if you're signing ambassadorships, and I consider that important. I think it's inappropriate. You have somebody that's devoting 4 years of their life or more to being an ambassador. I think you really that person deserves to get a real signature, not an auto pen signature. And I can tell auto pen easily. I can look at it. Essentially, whoever used the auto pen was the president. And that is wrong, it's illegal, it's so bad, and it's so disrespectful to our country.
Got him.
Welcome back, my unemployed amigos and amigos.
Watch that later.
So you think that the Republican president that just won an overwhelming victory should raise taxes and increase welfare in this country?
He should raise taxes. I think he should make sure he's raising taxes on billionaires so they pay their fair share and not hurting people who are on Medicaid who have enough things to worry about right now.
More Medicaid and more taxes.
I want people to get the health care that they need. For people who need it and can't afford it, I absolutely want more health care.
Scott, I just
Wait
want
a minute. I want to
hang on. I just want
there's 11 million people who are going to lose health care because of.
If you're and you won't get off grandma's
no,
couch.
it's not. It's not.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Okay, here's this one. Millions of taxpayer dollars are going.
What is going on around here?
Yeah, she's not even a politician anymore. Yeah, she's still got tons of fucking security. Insane. Fucking insane, right? What about caring for nature? Why does she need so many cars? I mean, probably because someone's after her life. Because she's a retard.
The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of an Ohio woman who sued her employer, claiming she was demoted from a job because she is straight. This ruling could make it easier to file lawsuits over so-called reverse discrimination. The ruling will
it's not reverse
push forward
discrimination.
several
It's
federal
just
lawsuits
discrimination.
filed in 20
Jesus.
states, also alleging discrimination of a person of a majority group, such as people who are white and straight. In the ruling, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said the federal civil rights law, quote, draws no distinction between members of the majority or minority groups, and that courts cannot impose special requirements
just because they
on
discriminate
plaintiffs
against
of majority groups.
Look, you discriminate against someone's race, ethnicity, sex, gender identity, right? You're doing that, and that's fucking weird. Okay, just fucking stop it. My fucking god. It's fucking illegal. Stop fucking doing it.
President Trump reviving one of his most controversial orders from his first term, issuing travel bans and restrictions on 19 countries. The White House says the countries lack proper vetting, fail to share identity and threat information, or exhibit high visa overstay rates.
We don't want to have other bad people coming into our country, but using the word bad, I'm being nice.
The travel ban mostly affects people from the Middle East and Africa. It includes Afghanistan, Burma, also known as Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of the Congo,
it was 12
Equatorial
countries.
Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. The partial travel restrictions affect people from Cuba, Venezuela, Sierra Leone, Togo,
Laos.
Burundi, Turkmenistan, and Laos. Travelers from those countries will not be able to come to the U.S. permanently or get student or tourist visas. Trump
There you have
escalating his immigration crackdown in part because of the attack in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect charged in that case overstayed his visa, but his home country of Egypt is not on the list.
Egypt has been a country that we deal with very closely. They have things under control. The countries that we have don't have things under control. And why now? I can say that it can't come soon enough, frankly. We want to keep bad people out of our country.
Democrats responding, Congressman Adam Schiff says the ban will not improve national security. Posting online, bigotry is not a national security strategy. President Trump says the list can be revised if countries make improvements, and more countries can be added if threats emerge. Perry Russell, ABC News, Washington.
Says the people who fucking like to be war hawks and start shit all the fucking time. Fucking Adam Shifty Schiff. Get the fuck out of here. Hey. What a piece of shit. What is it?
We're moving them out.
Trump says he has a really good conversation with Xi and received
but it can't come fast enough. We want to get them out. We want to get them out now. We don't want to have other bad people coming into our country, but using the word bad, I'm being nice. Okay,
the Democrats as a distraction, President. You put out on Truth Social a post regarding your conversation with President Xi.
Right.
Can you talk about whether or not you feel that trade talks, trade relations are back on track after appearing to be a little bit off track last week?
A little bit off track. It was only the complexity. It's pretty complex stuff. We had a very good conversation with President Xi a little while ago, just before your arrival. In fact, we just hung up and they said, "You're here." I said, "That's pretty good." Two great leaders of the world in a very short period of time. We had a very good talk, and we've straightened out any complexity. It's very complex stuff, and we straightened it out. The agreement was we're going to have Scott and Howard and Jameson will be going and meeting with their top people and continue it forward. But no, I think we have everything. I think we're in very good shape with China and the trade deal. We have a deal with China, as you know, but we were straightening out some of the points. having to do mostly with rare earth, magnets, and some other things.
So those reduced trade tariff rates, they remain in effect?
Yeah, we have the deal. I mean, we've had a deal. We announced the deal, and we'll be, I guess you could say, I wouldn't even say finalizing it up, Scott. I would say we have a deal, and we're going to just make sure that everybody understands what the deal is. Okay? We had a really good conversation. By the way, he invited me to China, and I invited him here. We both accepted. So I'll be going there.
Is he going to come to California again like he did last time? Where Gavin Newscomb had to clean up the city for him? Oh, there you have it. Supreme Court, Mexico can't sue American gun companies. Yeah, get fucked. You know? You want the truth?
Answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, you can't handle it, bitch. Get the fuck out. You're not a part of this country. You are not a part of the US of A, so get fucked, bitch. Gun rights groups argued Mexico is trying to bankrupt the U.S. firearms industry and undermine the Second Amendment. Yes.
Your theory of aiding and abetting liability would have destructive effects on the American economy in the sense that, as you've read in the briefs, lots of sellers and manufacturers of ordinary products know that they're going to be misused by some subset of people. They know that to a certainty, that it's going to be pharmaceuticals, cars, what you can name lots of products. So that's a real concern, I think, for me about accepting your theory of
people
aiding
are already
and abetting
doing, by the way.
liability.
So the fact that she comes and tries to like target gun manufacturers in the U.S. is like, get fucked. You're a piece of shit. Maybe you take care of your own fucking country first. I don't think we're gonna watch this whole thing. There we go. Chavez relate flames out just as intensely and publicly as it started. It's the end of an era. The must collapse as a nasty war of words. Musk signs off on suggestion Trump should be impeached, removed from office. Yeah, I wonder if. Yeah, I wonder if they're trying to rally behind Elon Musk now that he fucking came out and said that, right?
Welcome back, my
She did not think this through. Greta Thunberg is sailing to Gaza. Yes, she was. Climate activist Greta Thunberg joins aid ship sailing to Gaza aimed at breaking Israel's blockade. Yeah, right. Like they're gonna fucking end their blockade. Graham fantasizes about sinking Gaza aid ship carrying Greta Thunberg.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham
That's
wrote
funny.
on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim."
We can swim very well.
Excellent. Frolics on sailing boat heading to Gaza. We are prepared. Yeah. Yeah, they no joke about that.
How dare you?
How dare you? Yeah, you're gonna get nuked.
Somebody said.
If you're not careful. How dare you? Yeah, you won't have enough to say. You won't have enough time to say that. You're just gonna get fucking bombed. Trump has names of those who use AutoPen under Biden
Yeah,
era.
Biden used it.
Biden, Mr. President?
Yeah, Biden used it.
Your predecessor dismissed your AutoPen investigation. He said he made all the decisions during his presidency. I'm curious your reaction to his dismissal.
Well, the AutoPen, I think, is the big scandal outside of the rigged election of 2020. I think the biggest scandal of the last many years is the AutoPen. And who's using it? I happen to think I know, okay, because I'm here. And I'm not a big AutoPen person, fortunately. I'm glad. I'm very glad. It's an easy way out. But it's a very bad thing, very dangerous. You know, I sign important documents. Usually when they put documents in front of you, they're important. Even if you're signing ambassadorships and I consider that important. I think it's inappropriate. You have somebody that's devoting 4 years of their life or more to being an ambassador. I think you really that person deserves to get a real signature, not an AutoPen signature. And I can tell AutoPen easily. I can look at it. Like two little pinholes from pulling the paper, right? You always see the pinholes. It's real easy to tell about AutoPen. I think it's very disrespectful to people when they get an AutoPen signature. Outside, AutoPen to me are used when thousands of letters come in from young people all over the country and you want to get them back. And, you know, people use AutoPens for that, to send a little signature at the bottom of a letter. We have thousands of them. We get thousands of letters a week. And it's not possible to, I'd like to do it. So you can't do it. To me, that's where AutoPens start and stop. But I don't think, I'm sure that he didn't know many of the things. Look, he was never for open borders. He was never for transgender for everybody. He was never for men playing in women's sports. I mean, he changed all of these things that changed so radically. I don't think he had any idea that frankly, I said it during the debate and I say it now, he didn't have much of an idea what was going on.
Mr. President,
he shouldn't be, I mean, essentially whoever used the AutoPen was the president. And that is wrong, it's illegal, it's so bad, and it's so disrespectful to our country. Somebody said AutoPen. Did I hear the word AutoPen?
I'm just curious.
Because I think it's the biggest scandal maybe in the last 100 years in this country. So when I hear that word, I think it has to be discussed because the fake news will try and hide it, and we can't do that.
Well, that's
but go
what I'm
ahead.
asking. Have you uncovered any evidence that anything specific was signed without President Biden's knowledge or by other people in the administration acting illegally?
Well, I don't think Biden would know whether or not he signed it.
I'm asking if you've uncovered any of that information.
No, but I've uncovered, the human mind. I was in a debate with the human mind, and I didn't think he knew
I
what
was
the hell
in
he
the
was doing.
debate
So,
with
it's
the
one
human
of those things,
mind.
One of those
That's
problems.
fucked
We can't ever allow that to happen to our country. The danger our country was in. And I know some of the people that worked with him, radical left, horrible
Did
people.
you see Biden
And I
during
could give
that
you the
debate?
name of some of
It
the
was
people
like,
who
oh,
used the
fuck.
AutoPen, because I'm here, and I ask questions about people that were here also. There are a lot of people that were here when that happened, and they're here right now, and they'll answer your question very accurately. But I know some of the people that use that AutoPen, and those are not the people that had the same ideology as Joe Biden. These were radical left lunatics that used that, and they didn't get elected. He didn't get elected either, actually. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Okay. There's this one.
The criticism that I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, regarding Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill. What's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, you know, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, the words of, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut.
I think because it was packaged with so many things, people are kind of like
it's the biggest
iffy on
tax
it.
cut. Tax, you would say.
Because he packaged like
people's
tax
taxes
cuts
will go way
and
down,
and
but it's
other
the biggest
stuff
tax
with
cut
it.
in history. It's we are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And
like,
when you look at what we're doing
It's
for
weird.
small businesses, for people, for middle-income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, you know, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and, you know, which was a lot of money.
Well, I
for
mean, you
electric
put it in,
vehicles.
you put the EV
And,
mandate
you know,
in
they have a hard time,
the
electric
bill as
vehicles, and
well,
they
so it
want
was a
us to
little
pay,
weird.
Billions of dollars in subsidy.
Like he packaged a whole
And,
bunch
you know,
of basically
Elon knew this from the
cuts
beginning.
he was
knew it
doing.
for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning, Mr. Secretary. That hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, you know, he recommended somebody from that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he
I was talking
respected
about
him,
the
but
NASA
to
stuff.
run NASA, and I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, you know, look, we won. We get certain privileges, and one of the privileges, we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our. We'll be checking him out, seeing. But he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And you know, I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk, and even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting. And very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats, said that we're going to be doing, you know, I'd like you to discuss it, the 2.8 trillion, that CBO. This is a group of people that are Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that, Scott?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and scored the tariff revenue. We think it'll be the minimum of $2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
It gives you a tremendous surplus, but we're not allowed to use that. For some reason, they say scoring. Nobody knows what scoring means. Maybe a couple of people, but nobody. Somebody sits in the background. They say, well, we're not going to allow that. They're not allowing other things that we have that are tremendously profitable for our country. But if you saw the other day, CNBC, they came out with numbers, and the people on the show, very good people. I've watched them for a long time.
Oh, they were
couldn't believe
gassing
the
up
numbers,
his
how
bill.
good they are. The numbers were incredible, and that was personal income and also very low inflation. We have very low inflation. We're down to 2% now, and maybe even lower than that. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Remember, we had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country.
Or they were saying praises
They
about
say
the bill.
48 years, but let's say I think it's worse than that. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country under the Biden administration. Now we're down to a beautiful number, 2%. You'd actually like to keep it there. Better than zero is 2%. It's going down maybe to 1, and 1% is like perfect. That's perfect. You don't want to have zero. for certain reasons that nobody is very interested to listen to. But we have almost perfect inflation. Grocery prices are down. Everything. Remember eggs? Eggs. We weren't going to buy another egg for the next 20 years. They were so expensive, right? Remember? You guys all hit me about eggs. Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again. But if you look at gasoline, very important. I think always the most important because it's the energy is the biggest factor. That's what happened. He screwed up our energy policy, and everything went up because energy went up. But now energy is way down, and they have states where you're at $1.98 a gallon for gasoline. So the costs have come way down, and one of the things I ran on was that. I ran on the border. We have the best border in the history of our country, 99.99%.
So it's just going down the list of things.
Last week, 3 people came in, 2 of them for medical reasons. We let them in because one of them had a heart attack. I think it was a nice thing to do, and one of them had something else. So we've never had, I had very good numbers for 4 years, but we really topped it. And I want to thank Christie and Tom Homan. They've done a fantastic job. But nobody mentions that anymore. Remember, a few months ago, the border was a total disaster. People were coming in by the hundreds of thousands of people a day, a week, a month. I mean, we had a month.
Because
2
they
million
moved on to the
people came in
next
in 1 month.
thing.
The border was being
That they
overrun.
can
and
hope they can
a lot of
tag
bad
you
people,
on.
criminals, murderers, drug dealers. We had some of the worst people in the world coming in from all over the world. It's totally closed. And you know what? People are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. So we've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up in campaign for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him. But if you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I spoke to him recently about his house being set on fire, which was terrible. But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape. He said the most beautiful things about me, and he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon.
Well, he was insinuating you know more about the Epstein stuff, and that they're only withholding the information because there's more information on you regarding Epstein. So yeah. All right. Anyways, what's Fannie Willis got for us?
Y'all, thank you for watching. And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you this content. Now, y'all, your girl, Fannie Willis, she's taking loss after loss after loss, y'all. Just this week, she lost essentially 2 murder cases, y'all. 2 in 1 week. One was the final defendant on the YSL murder case.
Stuff.
If you all remember, Fannie Willis
she
came
lost
out
those finally,
thumping her chest, saying we're gonna put all these people away. And there were 2 victims that she said that the YSL gang, according to her, YSL is a gang headed by rapper Young Thug, and she said they had oft taken out 2 people, right?
Yes.
So there were 2 individuals
that was
took
her
it to
claim.
trial. They were both acquitted. Fannie has allowed 4 other people to plead down from the M charge to lesser charges. So now officially there will be no convictions for the offing of these 2 guys. One person named Donovan Thomas, also known as Nut or Big Nut, and the other known as Shamel Drinks. Let's take a look. It says here, long-running YSL case will end without a single M conviction. After 3 years, 28 defendants, and countless days in court, the long-running Young Slime Life gang and racketeering case will wrap up without a single M conviction. For the second time in as many weeks, Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis's office agreed to drop an M charge against an alleged YSL member in exchange for their guilty plea in the high-profile case. Several Atlanta attorneys said Tuesday that was par for the course, and it was clear Willis's office tried to dispose of the remaining defendants as quickly as possible after last year's trial fell apart. I'm certainly not surprised, said Keith Adams, who represented Atlanta rapper Young Thug, the Grammy-winning superstar at the center of this state's case. So here you have Fonnie Willis, y'all, making a big show, a big deal out of what she was going to do. And then when push came to shove, she didn't have the evidence. She didn't have the capacity to convict these people of the most serious charges. And so she had to reduce them all wrong. First of all, the only two that took it to trial, she lost, right? And then she reduced all of the other defendants who were on trial for M. Y'all know I'm saying M because of YouTube, right? Y'all know that. She reduced those all down to lesser charges. So there will be no convictions for the M's of those two people. I'm sorry I have to say M. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, y'all, so that's one. So she lost that. She lost that this week. But then there's another one. There's an officer who shot someone in 2019. The officer said it was self-defense. The victim's family believes that it was an unjustified shooting. Okay, I'm not taking any stance on this one way or another because frankly, I don't know. But this trial was moved to federal court and Fonnie lost that one. Let's take a look. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of
You lost
money.
all the cases.
I'm not gonna make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protect it from inflation, protect it from monetary debasement. You're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
And this week, a federal judge dismissing murder charges against Sung Kim, the former Atlanta police officer who shot and killed Jimmy Atchison back in 2019.
Judge Michael Brown ruled Atchison's death a textbook self-defense case that he said should not have moved forward. But Atchison's family and the Georgia NAACP strongly disagree. They are calling on the Fulton County District Attorney to appeal. 11 Live's Grace King is live in Atlanta with more for us this evening. Grace, you talked with Atchison's father earlier. What did he tell you?
His father, Jimmy Hill, says he's hurt and angry that a federal judge decided to dismiss the charges against Officer Sung Kim. He says it should have been left up to a jury, like the jury that originally indicted Officer Kim back in 2022.
In 2019, Jimmy Hill lost his son, Jimmy Atchison, to gunfire.
He was full of excitement, full of joy, full of laughter.
6 years later, he worries he'll lose his quest for justice, too.
He was robbed of life. This is a broken system, and it needs to be fixed.
A federal judge dismissed all charges against Sung Kim Tuesday, the veteran Atlanta police officer who shot and killed Atchison while executing a warrant with an FBI Joint Task Force in 2019. The judge wrote the evidence for self-defense is so overwhelming, it's hard to understand how Georgia could have brought these charges in the first place, much less continued with them over the 2.5 years since. But Atchison's dad says his son was unarmed, hiding in a closet, and given conflicting commands.
I was in shock. I was hurt. I was angry. I was enraged. I was upset because you had all these different, you had the inconsistencies in the stories.
A Fulton County grand jury indicted Kim on felony murder and involuntary manslaughter charges in 2022, but the case was eventually moved to federal court.
And it's like they're being overlooked and locked out. It's like what they say didn't matter.
Hill hopes District Attorney Fonnie Willis will appeal this new ruling so his son's case can stay alive.
You know, wrong is wrong no matter who says it. And it is wrong anymore to seek to escape the consequences of one act.
And Kim retired from the Atlanta police force back in 2019. I spoke with his attorney over email today. Don Samuel told me it's hard to celebrate when a young man died, that this just proves that this original case was an inexcusable abuse of prosecutorial decision-making. Live in Fulton County, Grace King, 11 Alive News.
So as you can see, the judge says that this should have never even been taken to trial, right? And the interesting thing is, You can kind of say the same thing with the YSL,
Why,
right?
yeah.
At least they shouldn't have been taken to trial for the M charge because
Mm-hmm.
after all, those charges did not stick. So add that to the Donald Trump case, which Fani has been removed from due to her, let's say, improprieties, and you just have a total failure, y'all. I mean, I know she's over there. She's probably getting convictions in other cases. I'm sure she's putting bad guys away. I'm sure she's doing some good work on other cases. But on her most prominent cases, on the ones that come out
Yeah, the high
into
profile
the
stuff.
national news, she's losing, and she's losing
Yeah.
badly. I'd like y'all, let me know what y'all think about this, y'all. Do you think Fani has a political future? Do you think she has a future even as the AG? I'm not sure if there are any
No.
term limits, but people
I mean,
down in
given what
Fulton
she's
County,
done
y'all can
over
let me know
the
that. But does she have a political
over in
future?
her
Seems like
district
not, y'all.
and
Doesn't seem
state,
like
yeah,
she's
no.
doing a very good job
She's
with
shady,
her
just like
national
Tiffany
image.
Henyard.
I don't know. Maybe down in Fulton County, she
And
has a
right,
better
Mayor
image than she
Brandon
does
Johnson, whatever
nationally.
his fucking
Let me
name
know what you
is.
think, y'all. Please leave a comment down below. But before
Those
you
people
do,
are
please
so
stop, hit
fucking
the share
shady.
button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people with a retirement, if you still want some money there, you know, when you go to retire, if you still want it to have some value, go down, click the link, PARALEGOLD.com, Paralegold, and speak to our people at Augusta Precious Metals. They'll help you determine
There you
if
have it.
gold will be best to protect your retirement from monetary debasement, inflation, you know, all the ups, downs, and rounding rounds. I want to thank y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.
Paralegal Institute of Washington, D.C. Thank you. All right, and that's gonna do it for the news section.